Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my January TBR, or all the books that I want to get read this month. So without further ado, let's just hop into the video. So I'm going to start with all the books that are on my ongoing series sort of little list. So I've started the series but haven't continued it for one reason or another. Honestly, it's because I just have so many series that I'm ongoing and I keep hopping around in it, and so I'm not getting anything done. So it's going to be a goal of mine this year to actually read the books that are on that series I have ongoing, and I want to try and get down to like only 100 books on that list before I start any new series, but we'll see how that goes. So the first book is From Bad to Cursed by Lana Harper. This is the second book in the Witches of Thistle Grove series. They are standalone. They can be read as standalones, but they're like witchy adult romances. I want to make sure I read this one because the third one actually comes out in January. The second one follows Rowan and Issa, whose families are like arch enemies, and they need to work together to figure out who's sabotaging the upcoming Beltane festival. And it sounds like it's going to be like a forced proximity kind of romance, which is always a good time. And then the third one that comes out in January is Back in a Spell. It comes out January 3rd, and it follows Morty and Nina. Morty is a mortal and Nina is a witch, and they go out on like a blind first date, and Morty finds out that Nina's family's actually been pressuring them to sell the family business. But then on that first date, Morty actually starts to develop magic, which should only happen when they become in like a committed, serious relationship. So enemies to lovers, this one. Figuring out a mystery. I don't know, it sounds really good. I'm excited about this one. So the next books that I want to read on series that I've ongoing are the third and fourth in the Vampire Academy series, the Shadow Kiss and Blood Promise. These are in case you haven't heard of them, these are a YA fantasy series that takes place at, you guessed it, a Vampire Academy. I actually read these for the first time when I was in high school, and I started doing a reread last year when I found out that that Prime was coming out with a Vampire Academy TV show, so I wanted a refresh, and I've been loving going back and reading these. So I want to make sure I prioritize them, and I also included them in my 23 books to read in 2023. So I definitely need to get to these this month. And then the next books are the second, third, and fourth Heartstopper books. These ones I think I can get to pretty quickly because I can read pretty quickly. I read the first one like really quick. They're really cute YA LGBTQIA romances that follow Charlie and Nick, and the first one ended in such a cliffhanger that I'm not sure why I didn't pick up the second one right away. Well, actually I did, because I do know why. I wanted the physical copy of them because I was reading them through my library, the first one, and so I really wanted to get the physical copies. So by the time I got them, I wasn't like needing to read it right away, but it's also these ones are also included in my 23 books to read by 2023. So I think I can read them all this month, and I'm really excited to continue with their story. I think the fifth one's actually coming out this year as well, so it'll be good to be caught up on the series. The next few books are from the Miles family series. The first one is I want to read Forbidden Miles, Reckless Miles, and Hidden Miles. These are all books by Claire Kingsley, and they are like small town romances that each have their own separate trope. They're again standalone books in a series that follow each individual family member, and I believe this one's actually also connected to her books, The Bailey Brothers, so I want to read both of those series. Forbidden Miles follows Bryn Miles, which is the youngest daughter, and it's a brother's best friend trope. The third one is Reckless Miles, and it follows Cooper Miles, where it is like a playboy romance. He's like player, and he is a reformed player by the female main character. The fourth one follows Leo Miles, which is the Hidden Miles book, and it is a wounded hero trope. And the last book on that list is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas, which is the second book in the Spanish Love Deception series. They are also standalone books that are interconnected by characters. So I believe this is like a one-bedroom roommate trope, obviously from the title. Lena, who is the female main character in the first book, lets her cousin Lucas stay at her apartment, but Rosie, her best friend, needs to find an apartment because her current apartment literally has the ceiling cave in. So Lucas lets her stay with him, and they decide to room together for the summer. The next sort of category of books that I have are books that I would consider outside of my comfort zone, meaning they're like books that are not in my traditional genres that I sort of stick to, which are usually like fantasy or romance. I want to challenge myself to read some books that are outside my comfort zone, like some literary fiction, some poetry, some magical realism, kind of like those kind of books. So I put a few on here, and I just gave myself a few options. I probably won't read them all, but I'm just giving myself a few options, seeing what I feel like because I am a bit of a mood reader. So the first one is actually my book club book with my friends, and it is Lessons by Giselle Buncher. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a nonfiction memoir. It follows Giselle. Giselle is the ex-wife of Tom Brady, the famous football player, and I believe she was also a former model before she married Tom, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So I need to read this one for my book club. I don't know anything really about her. That's pretty well all I know is that she was married to Tom Brady and that she was a model. That's all I know. So it sounds like it'll be an interesting read, and it's definitely outside my comfort zone. The next book is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This is a YA contemporary fiction. It follows Eden in her high school experience. It's split into like her freshman year, junior year, sophomore, and senior year. We don't call them those in Canada, so I always like have to remember. I think that's the right order. I think sophomore is, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, so it follows her high school experience after she goes through sexual assault by her brother's best friend. So it is going to be a very dark book. It's going to hurt, I'm sure, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, so we'll see. The next book is Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. This one is a magical realism poetry book. I want to read more books by Indigenous authors, and this one is by an Indigenous author and also follows an Indigenous girl growing up in Nunavut in the 1970s. I'm interested to see how the poetry aspect of this book goes, and I think the like magical realism part is the fact that is the spirit readings in this book, if I remember correctly, but it sounds super interesting and I really am excited to read it. The next book is I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shraya. This is an LGBTQIA memoir about a trans woman, but I just read Detransition Baby last month, and so I'm really interested to read another point of view from another trans author. The last book in this sort of section is Sitting Pretty by Rebecca Tausing. This is another nonfiction memoir, and it's a memoir and essays from a disability advocate, and she's the creator of the Instagram account Sitting_Pretty, so that's where the title of the book came from. I've heard really good things about this book and I'm excited to read it and follow her on Instagram. And now these are just other books that I want to read that are in my typical genre that I just like, I'm like feeling this month, you know? So the first is Faking with Benefits by Lily Gold. This is a reverse harem romance, which we all know I really like. I've been reading quite a few reverse harem books lately, and I'm just like, and I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm excited to read it. It's about 3 fake boyfriends to the female main character, Layla, and they teach her how to kiss and stuff. So the boyfriends are Zach, a rugby player, Luke, a silver-haired divorcee, and Josh, who is like the boy next door. So sounds very good. The next book is Do I Know You by Emily Wilberly and Austin Sigmund Broca. This is one of the new releases for the month. I talk about it more in the January releases that I'm anticipating, so I won't describe it too much, but it releases January 24th, and it follows Eliza and Graham, who are on vacation together, and one of the guests actually accidentally introduces them, thinking that they're both single, and they decide to spice up the relationship by just going along with it and pretending they don't know each other. The next book is The Game by V.I. Keeland. I love V.I. Keeland's writing. This is another new release that released on January 16th. It is a sports romance. Again, go check out that video if you want like the full description, but the female main character inherits part of a football team from her estranged father that she never met. And there she meets the handsome and confident quarterback. So it sounds like a really good book. And last but not least is The Plan by Carla Sorensen. This is another sports romance that's on Kindle Unlimited. It's got the bodyguard trope, and the bodyguard is a former football player. Again, I think this is a sports romance, but it's also bodyguard romance, and I just love both those tropes, so I'm excited to read this one. And that's the end of this video. Those are all the books that I'm really anticipating and really looking forward to reading this month. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave in a comment what books that you really want to get to this month, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.